Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are absolutely pleased to have with us in the studio friends from the SDSU School of Music and Dance. You have Dr. Education Koner. She's the Associate Professor and Coordinator of the Music Education, joined by a student in this program, that's Chris Wilson. How's everyone doing?
Good. Thanks for having us today.
Very good. How you doing, Chris? Good. What year are you in, Chris?
I'm a junior at SDSU right now.
Okay. And is your major, did you start as a freshman or did you come in, did you transfer?
Yeah, I started as a freshman at SDSU, yeah.
And was it in the same major?
Yeah.
And
I started as music.
Okay. And Karen, how long have you been at SDSU?
This is my 8th year at SDSU.
8th year. Okay. Were you somewhere before SDSU?
I was at another CSU campus
up
in Stanislaus, if you know where that is.
I do know where that is. Absolutely. Cal State's got a great university system, to say the least, on this. What got you, I'll start with you on this, Karen, and then go over to Chris. You always been interested in music and dance since you were little?
Yeah, so I started playing the saxophone at age 10, and then I majored in music education, just like Chris is doing now. I started teaching high school right out of college, taught high school for years before I eventually decided to move into grad school and higher education and end up what I'm doing now, training future educators.
That's great. Mm-hmm. And Chris, how about you? Always had a love for music and dance?
As a kid in middle school, elementary school, my sister was the drum major of her high school program.
Now, and what high school was that?
That was up in Temecula Valley High School.
Oh, nice. Okay. And were you in the band?
Yes, I was. I started in middle school. I was inspired by my sister to join. She played bassoon and various other instruments, but I was just so inspired by the community that she built around her and all her friends, and I just wanted to do it.
Now, did she go to SDSU too?
Yes, she did, actually, yeah.
And then when did she graduate? Or did she graduate?
She graduated last spring, yeah.
Oh, okay. What's she doing now?
She is in a graduate program at San Jose State. It's all completely online. It's in library sciences.
Oh, okay. So not quite music and dance.
Not quite music, no.
Yet. And what instruments do you play?
I play primarily the trumpet. I also play the French horn a little bit. I dabble.
Right. Okay, French horn, very, very good. And Karen, what do you play?
Saxophone and clarinet are my primary.
Really? And have you always played the saxophone and the clarinet?
I have.
Since you were little?
Age 10 is when I started.
That's pretty little.
Yeah.
And do you write stuff? Do you write music?
I do not.
Okay.
I went the whole research route, so
Right.
I do a lot of research now.
Right. Okay, very, very good. So on the research side, what type of research are you doing?
So I do a lot of research that deals with the K through 12 teacher community. My kind of specialty area is a lot of mindfulness work and kind of work that we can do to help support our teachers, stress management techniques. That kind of area is my little niche.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of attention on mindfulness these days, to say the least, on that.
Yeah.
So, do you work with the K-12 teachers or someone that's ready to become a teacher?
A little of both. So, my most recent work on the side, I'm actually a certified yoga instructor. So
okay.
I teach a yoga and mindfulness class at SDSU as well as my music education work. So I did a study looking at the music students who are enrolled in that class and looking at their well-being and their stress management and that kind of stuff as they're entering the music profession. So a little of both sides of that.
Yeah, we're joined by co-host Kristen Fogel. She is the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc., but she is also an actress, a singer, playwright, everything in between. So this is right in her wheelhouse, is it not?
It is in my wheelhouse, yes.
Yes. You have any questions for Karen and for Chris? Chris is the student in Karen's program.
Excellent, nice. I'm catching up, but yeah, I'm sure I'll have a few questions in a bit.
Okay, right, exactly. So with this, Chris, what part of the school and dance, music and dance do you like the most?
I would say the faculty are the biggest, but at any school, they're the most influential, but I think just at SDSU, that's where we excel the most. Learning under Dr. Koner, she teaches, the classes that I've taken so far have been woodwind methods, which is like an overview of basically every woodwind instrument, like saxophone, which she plays, clarinet, which she plays, flute, a bassoon, oboe, just every, woodwind instrument. That was really insightful to learn all of the ins and outs of those. Now I'm in her Practicum 1 class, which basically, what do you want to explain what Practicum 1 is?
Sure.
It's kind of like an intro to music ed in a way. They learn how to write lesson plans. They do their first peer teachings. He'll be going out into the schools, the K through 12 community, observing K through 12 master teachers, everything from elementary general teachers all the way up through high school marching band and kind of everything in between. So getting their feet wet a little bit more before they jump into, it's a 4-semester sequence, Practicum 1 through 4. And 2, 3, and 4 really jump into the more specialized of elementary general music, choral music ed, and then instrumental music ed. So
Right. So I'll ask you this, Karen, and you jump into Kristen on this. How is the state, and what does it say, VAPA in general, in the K-12 environment? Good. I know there was a huge grant that came in a few years ago.
Prop 28.
Yes, it did.
It's been interesting. It's been interesting. Lots of good intentions with Prop 28, and it's been the largest in any state in the nation that has come through with that kind of funding to support. There's been a lot of confusion, I think, that's come along with it of just how to really support those funds and make sure they're going the right directions and make sure schools are using them into the appropriate fashion of what they need to make sure that everything's happening the way that it needs to go forward. We've had really good success of our educators coming out and finding jobs that have been supported a lot with those funds, as well as just funds in general.
Right.
So that's been a really positive thing.
Yeah. And are the funds, the reason I'm smiling on this, and so is Susan Clausen, she's been bringing her clients in for a long time. We've been doing the show for 19 years. Because whenever we talk about VAPA, well, then I get into my high horse. I used to be a curriculum developer for San Diego Unified. Okay. You could teach every single subject, as you well know, under the sun, teaching of visual performing arts and music and dance, from language arts to history to science to physics to everything else on it. So hopefully we're getting this. Kristen, I know you were going to ask a question.
Well, I guess it was a similar question to yours in that, when I was growing up, everyone had a music teacher at their school. Mm-hmm. And so, but I've seen a shift away from that, being a teaching artist also. Yeah. Them just bringing us on board for, hey, you get 6 weeks of drama. Here you go.
Yeah.
So are we still seeing that? Are we seeing, like with this prop, are we seeing a resurgence of these part or full-time positions, or what does that kind of landscape look like right now?
I think that's the hope. At least that's what I've been told, that's the hope. So as you all probably remember, the whole crash of 2008. And so they let all those music teachers go at that time, especially at the elementary level. And we've just never 100% recovered from that. And so one of the ways they're trying to remedy this was this Prop 28, and we're going to bring the teachers back in the schools. But there's still such a challenge, is exactly what you're talking about, the teaching artists that are coming in. And so they're only there for 6 weeks in certain programs of that. Or we're seeing a lot, and it's happening a lot in bigger districts of, there's the itinerant teachers of, you have one music teacher that's serving 3 or 4 schools, which is great that those kids are getting some sort of music, but such a challenge because that music teacher might be seeing 1,000 kids or, however many kids, that it makes it really hard for them to get to know those students one-on-one. And, the kids might only be getting music once every 2 weeks. And so I think there's a lot of hope that maybe these kinds of funds can support that teacher being at less schools or whatever. I think we're trying to move in that direction. Who knows, what that will really pan out to be. But that is the dream, I guess. Absolutely. If I could wave my magic wand, that's the dream.
Right. Well, listen, Drew ran the world here. That'd be very scary anyway. But what would happen is the last people that would have been cut would have been the music and the artists. Okay?
Absolutely.
For 65 different reasons, including collaboration and empathy and everything that goes with all the great work I'm preaching to the congregation on this. We're chatting with our friends from SDSU School of Music and Dance, Dr. Karen Koner. She's the Associate Professor and Coordinator of Music Education for SDSU, joined by her student, Chris Wilson, is a junior in the program. I'm Drew Schlosberg. As you listen to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. We're in our 19th year, brought to you by the amazing folks of Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of doing great things in our community, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's VAPA, whether it's financial literacy. They do it all. Joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel, Executive Director of San Diego Writers, Inc. Kristen, you got another question?
Yeah, I'd just be curious to know more from Chris, so I was a vocal student like a long time ago for a hot second, and one of my biggest regrets is not going along with that program. So besides the faculty, what are other cool experiences that you kind of get to partake in as part of this program?
As a brass player, so I play the trumpet again, the brass faculty are specifically, going back to the faculty again, but the faculty in the brass section have just been so instrumental in my success at SDSU.
Instrumental. See what you did?
Yeah,
nice
I
job.
did do that.
Yeah.
I did do that.
Good.
And that includes creating many different ensembles at SDSU. And, we do have like the large ensembles like the Wind Symphony and the Symphony Orchestra and Chamber Orchestra. Yeah. But the collaboration between 5 or less students, like a quintet that I'm in, that has been super, super like fulfilling as a musician, just being able to create music with such a small group and put on like a whole recital as a sophomore. So that was a really, really fun experience to do. Again, just super, super amazing experience. I'll shout out one person, Dr. Eric Starr. He has been super, super amazing. Getting to learn from him as a trombonist, but also like as a trumpet player. Like not a lot of things collaborate or like combined with that, but he's just been so huge in my success, I think.
Dr. Starr, what a name.
Yeah.
I love it.
He is a star.
You talked about performance opportunities. So do you get opportunities to perform at different spaces around campus? Do you get to go into the wider community? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Let's see. We have a recital hall on campus that is Smith Recital Hall. We have all of our brass chamber concerts in there. We also have, it's kind of like a newer addition to our use. It's the SDSU main stage. It used to be called something else, but now it's the SDSU main stage. That's been a really cool place to perform. Other places around town, we performed in the Balboa Theater in downtown. That's been a really, it was such a cool
beautiful
experience.
Space.
Yes.
That was great acoustics.
Oh yeah. I also was in the jazz program for the past like 2 years or so, subbing and playing lead and stuff. That's been really fun. We got to play in the Poway Performing Arts Center, connected to that high school.
Yeah.
It is Poway High School.
Poway on stage. Yeah, it's great.
Beautiful.
They have a great series of music and acts as well.
Oh yeah, that's a gorgeous place too.
It is.
What other venues? I'm trying to think of any other venues that we've been to.
And with that, is your goal to become a teacher?
Yes, it is.
Okay, K-12?
Yeah.
Okay. And any grade level?
Any grade level. I don't foresee myself being like picky. I just, want a job. I want to inspire the kiddos to get more encouraged and passionate about music because that's what I love. So.
Yeah, well, it's needed so much, and Karen, you mentioned you were a high school teacher for a while, correct?
Yeah.
In that area, are you seeing a resurgence of more people wanting to teach music in the schools or dance or whatever?
We've been pretty lucky at SDSU. We've been pretty consistent with our numbers. Like I know the pandemic saw some hits with a lot of programs. the pandemic was very hard on teachers. It was hard on me. It was hard on all of us.
Parents, you name it. There wasn't a subject that wasn't, right? Exactly.
It was very challenging. But we were really lucky at SDSU as our numbers have been really consistent the whole time. We didn't really take a hit at all. Our program has remained very strong. And in fact, we just hired a new faculty member. And we've actually, this year, my Practicum 1 numbers are actually up. So
Congratulations.
Thank you. So we've remained really strong the whole time. I know, we are actually the only undergraduate music education program in San Diego. So San Diego Unified is always we can't pump out teachers fast enough for them.
Correct.
They're always calling,
right.
Who do you have this year? So, I can't really speak to the at large too much, but beyond Southern California, we seem to be holding consistent, which is a good thing.
No, it is. When we come back from break, Karen, let's talk about the new master's program that you guys have started this fall as well. And something I love always talking about, the science behind music in the brain and how it works. And we know it works. We've been knowing this probably since we were walking upright and all that business. And then we always leave some time in the second half of the interview. What can our listeners do to support your efforts? Certainly go to concerts that Chris is doing and all that business, and keep a lookout for jobs when we return with Dr. Karen Koner. She's associate professor and coordinator of the music education program at SDSU, joined by one of her fine students, Chris Wilson. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg, Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast. We're in our 19th year, brought to you by the amazing folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things for people living in San Diego County. Honored to have in the studio with us today our friends from the SDSU School of Music and Dance, Dr. Karen Koner, Associate Professor and Coordinator of Music Education, joined by one of her fine students, Chris Wilson. He is a junior, plays every instrument known to humankind, it sounds like, in this aspect. I'm joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She's the Executive Director of San Diego Writers Inc. Kristen.
Yeah, so I love this question because I love school so much, and I'm so excited about your new master's program. And I actually restarted my master's at State in the theater department this semester. So,
wonderful.
Yeah, so you're kind of neighbors, even though I'm doing my class online. Anyhow, I would love to hear more about the master's, the new master's program you have.
Yeah. So applications are opening next month.
Okay.
Will go into effect actually this summer coming up. So I created it a couple years ago, and of course it takes a couple years to get through all the red tape and all the things, but we are officially coming forward. It will be an MM, a Master's of Music Education.
Okay.
It is geared 100% towards the practicing K through 12 teachers. So there is nowhere for a practicing music educator right now to get their master's in San Diego. And I saw that was a real need for our community. And so all of the classes that are going to be offered in the evenings and are offered in the summers, so that the teachers do not have to give up teaching to come and get their master's.
That's great.
It's also structured. It'll be over 2 years, and that no semester they're taking more than 6 to 7 units a semester, so that they're not feeling overloaded while they're trying to have a full-time job at the same time. So I have 2 master's degrees, and I did both of those degrees while I was full-time teaching high school, and I know how hard it is to balance. So I really kept that in mind when I was trying to structure all this and all this curriculum. We also made it with 2 different tracks. So the teachers will come in and they will have either an elementary track with 2 classes specialized with our elementary specialist. Her name is Dr. Jennifer G. Or they'll come in the secondary track. They'll have coursework with our conducting faculty. So they can really have some time on the podium and work with our ensembles and really refine those skills that they can then take into their classrooms. So
they can apply right now?
Applications open in October, so in a couple weeks.
Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. Very good. You heard it here sort of first. That is sort of amazing. It's the only master's program in music in San Diego. Is that correct?
In music education, yeah. There's been nothing.
And is that stunning? It surprises me, but maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. In California, there's no doctorate in music education. That's one of my long-term goals.
Wow.
For SDSU. And in the CSU campuses, I think there's only 4 other CSU campuses out of the 23 that have a master's of music ed. So it's just not been a huge degree. And in San Diego, there's not any masters of music ed. So it's really
Doesn't that surprise you, Kristen?
It does. I mean, I don't know. I've looked at other programs and other disciplines, so it kind of doesn't surprise me. The same as in theater and rhetoric and writing and things like that. There's just, not a lot of options. So it's sad, but it also doesn't surprise me. Yeah. So if you are currently teaching, in like in a K through 8th or a high school setting, and you have that, what would be the benefit of going back to school for people that might be listening and like thinking about it? Why might they want to go and get a master's in addition to the education they have?
There's 2 big reasons. One is financial. For the teachers, it really helps bump them up the pay scale.
That's huge.
And even if, and it even helps for a lot of districts, just the credits as they're going to school, it starts to bump them up the pay scale as they're going. So for a lot of them, they even before they finish the degree, they're starting to see those pay bumps, which is really helpful. San Diego living, as we all know, is not cheap.
Not cheap.
And the other thing is because of how we've geared this towards the practicing K through 12 teacher, we've really created coursework that is geared towards pedagogy based that they can take back to their classroom right away. As you've been in teaching and those of us who are in education, like you do things the same for so many years. And sometimes you're just looking for inspiration to try new things. And, like one of the classes we're going to offer is current trends in music education that maybe is going to talk about some new ideas. I'm teaching a course, for example, in the summer called Instructional Strategies, which talks about curriculum and assessment and maybe different assessment ideas that maybe they hadn't thought of or just hadn't tried. And so, hopefully it's ideas that they can take back with them to be like, oh, I haven't thought of that. I'm going to try it in my classroom next semester or next year. So those are the kind of 2 ideas.
That is so true. I mean, so much, changes just from 10 years ago when I was doing certain education and everything, the trends are widely different, and it's always good to go back and do that. I'm also wondering too, with the masters, can they teach on the college level now? Maybe at like a community college or things like that, or?
Yeah, absolutely. To teach at a community college, all you need is a master's degree. To get into a university setting is a little more challenging. Most of them do require a doctorate, but our MM is set up for if you are interested in going on for a doctorate, you're set up to apply then for that next level if that's something one of our people would want to do.
Right, we're chatting with our friends from the SDSU School of Music and Dance, Dr. Karen Koner. She's the Associate Professor and Coordinator of Music Education, SDSU, joined by one of her great students, Chris Wilson, a junior, and a wonderful performer. Let me ask you this. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. So Chris, you're going to become a teacher, right? Mm-hmm. Have you done any teaching at all? Have you been in any classrooms at all?
I've been in a few classrooms before. Yeah,
what grade level?
It was in high school. Yeah.
Okay, high school. Okay,
high school level.
And were you actually doing the teaching or observing?
It was some observing, but I was also teching the marching band, so that was a really cool experience.
Okay, really, cool. Really good. Teaching is it's a phenomenal profession, to say the least. When you close that door for 182 days, you don't know what's going to come and jump right at you at any time during the day. In this aspect, how much pedagogy have you got in sort of the philosophy of teaching in general, just not in music? Teaching, in the aspect of teaching. I think I've learned a lot in the method courses so far. I just started the practicum sequence, so I have a lot to learn in lesson planning and that sort of stuff from some of my observations, which I'm very excited to do more this year. Yeah.
In practicum 1 and practicum 2. But yeah, the methods courses I've taken, vocal methods, so some little bit of voice, woodwind so far, and guitar. And right now I'm in strings, so I'm learning a little bit of everything.
Yeah, my daughter's a teacher in the Poway School District, and so teaches 4th grade, so she knows it all well of how to do these things. And
do they do recorders in the 4th grade?
Do
they still do that at some?
Probably. I should ask her this.
You should. I think it's around that age that everybody records, if you will.
I got to you just a quick story on this. It's so funny. So I came into class and she introduced me to him, and they were allowed to ask any question they wanted me and all that business. And so, and music is my passion, as Kristen knows.
Yeah.
Live music. I'll see it every day. 24/7. And so I'm chatting with this, and these kids are 9 years old, 9 and 10 and all that. And one kid out of nowhere goes, Mr. Schlosberg, what is your favorite genre of music?
Loaded question.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, I went in and I bored the class even more talking about all that. But the fact that they were interested in it and, they had a passion for that. Let's get back to this thing we were talking about earlier about how, music activates the brain. And we know that. It's not new. And we know how important that is. Do people get that and understand how important it is?
I hope so. I actually was just at a conference last week presenting some of my research, and it was a music and health conference. And it was a super interesting conference because it not only had music education faculty such as myself there, but it also had music therapists there. It also had MDs there, and it had all this research. For example, research. A woman was presenting research that they're working with dementia patients of, folks who actually have forgotten how to speak, but yet they can still sing and they can still recognize music. There was research of talking about, the medical effects, and they're doing all this testing of the well-being and the effects of singing on well-being. And there's just so much of a connection there.
100%.
So, in my research areas I was mentioning is on mindfulness and health and all of that stuff. And so there is such a connection there. And, and as someone who has been a music educator for so long, I was just talking about this in classes. We were just talking about this in class this week of the importance of music education, of obviously the music aspect, but just the community aspect and the social aspect, and so much that our students get that they just don't get in other subject areas so often, because it is such a team effort and working together and all of those things.
And Kristen and I talk about this all the time, especially when, Susan brings in her, friends from theaters around or music or dance, whatever the case may be. It's the stuff that we know, if we've known for a long time, that this stuff really does work. And those kids that, can glom onto whether it's dance or it's music, they may not enjoy the math and science, even though they're learning math and science. They probably just don't know they're learning math and science in this area. What can we do? What can our listeners do to support what you're doing, Karen, and what you're doing, Chris? We'll start with you on this, Karen.
I think going to music events is number one, first and foremost. San Diego is such an amazing town for free events. Number one, even just the concerts at Balboa Park are amazing. Show your support.
Exactly.
SDSU has so many events, just getting online, checking out the calendar. Even the paid events, none of them are super pricey, but just showing your support that way and coming out. Our first concert is coming up in a couple weeks. We always do our opening band and orchestra concert at Imperial Beach. It is September 27th. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
September 27th. It's an evening event. It's out at Imperial Beach. You bring your camping chair, sit out at the beach. It's a beautiful setting. Like, can you beat that for your opening concert every year? But just being involved and coming and seeing the arts is such an amazing thing. For folks who want to get more involved, who might have more financial opportunity, there's always donating to the arts is just such an important thing if you can. So I think that first and foremost, though, just being involved and coming to see it.
I think so too. How about Chris? What can our listeners do to support you besides doing what Dr. Koner just said?
It's hard because the first thing I thought of was also coming and seeing us perform. That's like such a cool thing to do.
Right.
I would say, like school board meetings, like show up to school board meetings, advocate for the arts if you can, please.
Those are all important, and it makes a difference in that area. So where do you see yourself in 15 years? Okay. You're going to be teaching somewhere, maybe. Okay. Where else?
Well, I'm really interested. Dr. Koner did sell me on the music ed master's degree.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see the other people that go through that and see how I can shape my experience with that. Possibly, this would be after I'd probably get a credential. So maybe like 2 or 3, it's probably 3 or 4 years until I get into that program, the master's program, hopefully, fingers crossed. But I am super interested in possibly pursuing a doctorate as well. I've loved a certain class, is the oral skills, like the ear training class, which a lot of people dislike, but I feel like I can try and bring an easier, less daunting approach about it, be a little bit more friendly in terms of, it is a very difficult class, and I feel like I can bring something to that.
Well, that's great. Well, listen, enjoyed the conversation with both of you folks, and we know you'll probably make a return appearance down here somewhere down the road. And when is the first concert, Karen?
September 27th.
How do they sign up for it? Where do they go? Do they go to the SDSU School of Music and Dance website?
Yeah, they can just come. It's at Imperial Beach. Yeah. If you look at the website, you can see the details. But yeah, it's just down at Imperial Beach, literally by the pier. Do you know what time it's at, Chris?
It should be...
It's in the evening.
Okay, right. You can probably Google and find out where
but yeah, bring a blanket, bring a beach chair, bring a camping chair, and just come, and even bring a picnic. My friends and I usually do, and just come and sit and enjoy. And the band and orchestra will be performing. There's some really fun music. I was just with the band director yesterday, and he was showing me what they were playing, and
they are very fun.
Yeah, it's always a good time. The orchestra's playing some ballet tunes, and
nice.
And yeah, it's just always a really fun time. They do it every year as the opening concert of the season for the school year.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Dr. Karen Koner. She's Associate Professor and Coordinator of Music Education at SDSU, joined by a junior in the program, Chris Wilson. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. Listen to edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast in our 19th year, brought to you by the amazing folks at Mission Fed Credit Union, 60 plus years of doing great things for people in San Diego County. Thank you, Kristen Fogel, my co-host. Kristen is the Executive Director of San Diego Writers, Inc. And to our listeners, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.